Hi guys.
We'll be going live and okay, getting ready for live. You should be good to go. We're live on LinkedIn, should be live on YouTube, on Facebook, and we are recording, so we're good to go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of A Day in the Life of a Cyber Professional. As always, my name is Dr. Mukhtar Lasisi. I'm your host. And today, we have a guest who is not only a powerhouse in the cybersecurity industry, but also an expert who is passionate about helping us understand and navigate the complexities of the digital world we live in today. He's known for his dynamic approach and engaging speaking style. Femi brings a wealth of knowledge and practical advice to the team. He has mentored many in the cybersecurity community, helping them navigate their careers and understand the nuances of digital security. Join me in welcoming the remarkable Femi Ogunji to our show today.
Thank you very much. That was very. Sometimes you listen to people read out your accomplishments and you don't realize how much you've actually accomplished. So sometimes it's like imposter syndrome wants to kick in, but I'm like, nope, that's me actually.
That's me.
Thank you for
I
having me.
know, right? Thank you for joining us today. And for the benefit of those that are new to this show, so the way we run it, and for the sake of time, we'll jump right into it. But the way we run it is the first half of the show, I will ask some pre-planned questions to our guest here, and I'm sure we'll do justice to them. In the last half hour, we'll leave it open to our audience. If you have any questions, start writing them down now. So you have your time to ask him a series of questions, and I'm sure we'll be more than happy to answer them. So when you're ready, I am ready to go.
Ready when you are.
Right. Okay. Let's jump right into it.
Okay.
Just as always, I guess our audience would like to know a little bit more about you. So if you can walk us through your journey in this cybersecurity field, let's start from there so that they know the kind of powerhouse we have here today.
Okay, so my journey has not been very straightforward. And I tell people that there's no straightforward path to where you are today or where you want to be. My first degree is in chemistry.
Oh, interesting.
I got a postgraduate in pharmaceutical chemistry. So I did all the test tube and lab and pipette and all of that. But then somewhere along the line, about 18 years ago, about 18 years ago, I got the opportunity to study Oracle 9i, database administration. I was like, oh, okay, this looks very interesting. You know, I like this computer thing, so it made sense. So I was like, okay, let me do a bit more of this. So I got my first job. Actually, I got my first job because of my degree in chemistry and pharmaceutical chemistry. But then my boss at the time said, you know what, I want to start selling online. So I built an e-commerce platform and integrated it with QuickBooks. Because I learned how to do that based on my database administration skills. And then I did a bit of web development, did a bit of software development. And I was like, man, software development is hard. It's not for me. So I went back to my databases and then I started working with a small software development company back in Nigeria that does school management software. And I was in charge of a team of developers and user acceptance testing. So that was when, and then we're working with one of the biggest banks in Nigeria. I won't say the name. And that was when security became a focus. One was like, people are going to put their card details here. People are going to put their students' information here. So it has to be secure. So that was my first foray into actually working on cybersecurity. It was actually on the software development security side of things. Then about 6.5 years ago, I got the chance to move to Canada. And I got a job doing some IT stuff for nonprofits here in British Columbia. But I was doing hardware, software, and security. So I was in charge of, like, I think the first day I joined the company, this next day there was a cyber attack on our servers because we had an in-house server. So there was a cyber attack. So I started my first week on the job troubleshooting, cyber attacks. So, and that was how I built my career on till where I am today. Today I've got a bit of experience in several areas and domains of cybersecurity, but my focus is actually identity and access management. Making sure that the right people have the right access and nothing else, basically.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I always say to people, there's no straight path to anything, especially when cybersecurity. I think there's beauty in diversity in cybersecurity. There's
True.
different domain knowledge, different knowledge from different areas come together to form what we have in cybersecurity today. I haven't so in my years of talking to people, like different people in this space, I've only seen few people that actually say, you know what, probably nobody actually. I said, you know what, I started off doing cybersecurity. My
Yeah.
first job, everything was cybersecurity. Haven't seen anybody. Yeah, the closest you can get, probably someone like myself. I started off in IT, right?
Or
That's the
network
closest.
security, or a network engineer. As
Network
you
engineer, network administration,
That's the
exactly.
closest.
That's the closest you can get to it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So my second question for you today. So you started talking about, and I know you'll touch on this with this question. So what are some best practices that both individuals and organizations can adopt to improve their cybersecurity?
Best practices. Of recent, I've been a big proponent of the words zero trust. Now, some people say zero trust is the new snake oil. I don't think so. It depends on how you look at it. I don't think zero trust is a software you can buy or a platform you can buy. It's more a way of looking at things. So basically, when you're doing cybersecurity, basically what you want to do is you want to make sure the bad guys stay out and the good guys stay in. But because today enterprises are distributed, people are working from Starbucks, from home, from hotel lobbies, from airport. You really don't have your firewall perimeter, as it were, to actually keep your perimeter in shape. So what you can do is make sure that only the right people are accessing. So one of the first things I would always say to enterprises is adopt a zero trust policy. It doesn't mean implement zero trust software or buy a software that says I'm zero trust for you. But no, do you know who has access to your systems? Do you know what level of access they have? So are you using RBAC, or are you using ABAC, or are you using PBAC? Which of them are you using? Which of those are you doing? So as long as you are constantly, reviewing who has access to what and how, ask yourself those questions constantly. And because you can't say, oh, I have made myself cybersecure today so I can go to sleep. No, it's a continuing thing. You do it every day, because every day these hackers are getting smarter and smarter. There's generative AI to help them. There's hacker for hire sales. You can buy a lot of services on the dark web. So you also should be on your toes every day the same way. So it's very important that one of the first things you want to do is always review your system, always review your networks, always review your architecture, always. Where are we looking? What's my attack surface like? What can I do to reduce my attack surface? What can I do to improve my security? And then it's very important. The other thing is, it's so good to have, it's useless to have all the best security in the world, but you have no people that can operate it. That's the other part to it. So you can have the zero trust policies in place, but if you don't do the proper training for your staff, it's useless, because somebody's going to click a link they shouldn't click, or go to a website they shouldn't visit eventually. So pair up the right policy, the right framework in your enterprise with proper training for your employees. So constant training. And in fact, I think in some parts of North America where I am, it's actually mandatory for you to actually have cybersecurity training for your employees at least once a year. It's legally required. So if you don't do that,
absolutely,
you're going to have an issue with the regulatory authorities. So right policies, right training for your employees, and then constantly review and monitor. That's the best practice. Nothing beats that. You can't beat it without doing that.
100%, 100%. Thank you for sharing that. Because again, to me, that's the basis of security. Whether it's cyber or any form of security, that's the basis of security. Trust must verify. Oh, yes, I trust you, but again, I want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. There's something I call unintentional bad guys, our employees. A lot of the time they do,
Yeah.
they don't mean to do the bad thing, but then they end up doing it because they don't have the right training or for whatever reason. So how do you make sure, how do you catch those? You have to instantly check these things, right? So yeah, thank you for sharing that. So my next question, you started talking about it, zero trust, and it's not exactly zero trust, but identity and access management, which is your space, right?
Yes.
It's crucial. I know that not a lot of people do, and that's because we're both in this space, right? Can you explain what it is and why it's so important in cybersecurity?
Okay, so I know Hollywood has glamorized ethical hacking and pen testers and hackers because of, if you watch a Hollywood movie about cybersecurity, it's all about, oh, I can hack into a system. But the first thing is actually, before you can actually do that, people who are hacking and are trying to steal, and I was telling somebody a few weeks ago, Nobody brute forces their way into any network anymore. Nobody has time to do that. I will look for valid credentials and steal them. That's what I do. So what it means that as a company, you have to be sure that you know who has an account on your network. You know what applications, servers, systems they have access to with that account. You know if they have multi-factor authentication. You know if that access that they are having is being logged every time they are logging in. You know if it's being recorded, and when they don't need the access anymore, you know to remove that access. So IAM actually has to do with everything about who is connecting to your systems, from where, how, and why. Or like I like to say, they call it the Kipling method, or the five W's and one H: who, what, where, when, why, and how. Ask yourself those questions. Who is connecting? Where are they connecting? When are they connecting? Why are they connecting? From where are they connected, and how are they connecting? If you can answer all of those questions, you can actually answer the identity and access management question for your enterprise. So, do you allow anyone to connect from just anywhere? Are you authenticating with multi-factors? Sometimes 3, 4 factors. Something something you have, something you are. That kind of thing. Or what are the factors you're using? So, because these days you can buy passwords and usernames on the dark web for cheap. So if somebody's password is compromised, then at least you have a second layer of security by saying, well, okay, yes, I won't grant you access just because you give me the password. What's your MFA code? Or can you answer a secret question? Or can you use your biometrics to actually verify yourself? So all of those things actually combine together. And that's why IAM is important, because the truth is, the threat actors will always get access to resources. There will be a breach somewhere or the other. What you want to do is you want to make sure that when they do breach companies, because it's not if you get breached, when you get breached, what do they get access to? Are they able to laterally move within your network and live off the land? Or are they able to just sort of, they get into this system and, oh no, we can't go beyond this system because you have the right principles in place. That is the crux of identity and access management. That is what we do. Make sure that even when we get breached, because we will get breached at some point, the impact is minimal.
100%. Thank you. What I say is identity and access management is the foundation of security.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because what I was saying in security, we're talking about the CIA triad.
Yeah.
Deny access to those that shouldn't have access. Give access to those that should have access when they should have access.
Yes.
They trace what they're doing. So that's, to me, that's the foundation. If you can get that right, we have security, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Okay. And again, it sounds straightforward, but it's not.
It's not as straightforward as it sounds.
Next question, actually. Because there's remote work everywhere. Everyone wants to work remotely from anywhere in the world.
True.
How has that actually evolved? What is that looking like in the identity and access management space? Has it evolved the practices there, or what does that look like? What trend are we seeing?
Well, that's interesting, because I think, and we have COVID to thank for this. I like to say COVID was the biggest driver of digital transformation for many businesses. Because before COVID, it was like you have to work, you have to go to the office, to sit down at the table, to connect to the internet to work. But these days, people are connecting from anywhere, on their phones, on their tablets, on their laptops, hotel room, airport lobby, all sorts of various Wi-Fis, which increases the risk that people might connect to a malicious Wi-Fi, because there's always Wi-Fi clones, evil twin Wi-Fi everywhere. They're everywhere, right? In fact, I had a story a couple of weeks ago at a conference I was at. I was talking to someone after a paper I presented, and he said he knows someone who, I won't call the name of the company, who was working on a contract role with that company. And it was because of things like Zero Trust that they found out that he was actually giving his credentials to somebody he had subcontracted the job to in Asia. Call the country. So someone was like, wait, this guy is supposed to be in North America. Why is he logging in from Asia? Things like that are the things that makes it required. So because of things like that, it's important for companies to realize, do we have a distributed workforce? Where are people logging in from? Are people going to only log in from North America? Or can I have people log in from any country? Some companies will allow you to work remotely, but you can't work from country A, B, C, D. And that's fine based on policy. So all of these things now fit into it. Most companies are saying, first, I want to have multi-factor authentication. So not just a password, but either you're using a hardware token or a software token or an authenticator app. That's one of the things that some companies are doing. Some companies are also doing things where you can only connect through company provided devices, or they will do like a copy a copy device. So a company provided but personally enabled, where the company will give you the device, you can use it for personal stuff, but that's the only thing you can use, because that way they can have their endpoint agents on it. They can monitor if that host is okay, it meets the required standard before it connects to the network. So all of these things are making the things different. Fine, some companies still do BYOD where you can bring your own device. But yes, even at that point, there's a lot of things that are verified. So you don't just use one factor of authentication. You put your username, you put your password, you put a passcode from your authenticator device. They may not ask. I've seen situations where it is like, okay, if you're going to log into this device, please call this particular number and that number is only programmed to receive calls from certain numbers. So your hackers can't get that third code. That's the way they do it. So companies have had to become very ingenious about the various factors they deploy to prevent, unnecessary or incessant or malicious access to their network. And that is only going to continue, which is why zero trust is a big factor in that. Because you don't say, oh, this person's username is ABCDE. All right, it's admin and his password is admin. He must be the right person, so I'm going to give him access. No, you don't say because the username is the same and the password is the same, you give him access. Let him prove that he's really who he says
He is the person.
Then you can grant access. So that's one of the biggest things to come out of this new security requirements for IAM. It's zero trust. And I think it really is the future. Not as a 100%. Platform, but more as a framework to implement across many enterprises.
Absolutely. 100%. I like what you said, because, I always say to you that the power of our business as our security people is to enable the business.
Yeah.
The business you're working with. And you're talking about identity and access management and the way the workforce has evolved. And it shows how security has evolved with it. It's okay, whatever, they need to work from anywhere. How can we make sure that they're doing so securely? We won't stop them from working from anywhere, but we'll make them do it securely. That's exactly the beauty of it. So thank you for sharing that. So because you started talking about BYOD and all that. And COP. It actually takes you to that next question. Is organizations ensure that all their assets, including, and again, shadow IT is a big deal today, and IoT, whatever else, are accounted for and properly secured?
I think the first thing that every organization needs to do is determine what is their risk tolerance. How much of a risk are they willing to bear? Some organizations are very, very sensitive. So think defense, think utilities, that are, especially here in North America, they're very, very sensitive, where they don't care who you are. You cannot bring your own device.
Yes.
It is, we give you the device you will use, your laptop, your tablet, your phone, we give that to you. If you don't want that, then you can't work for us. That's their policy. And that's because of what they deal with is sensitive information. And that's fine. If that's the case, it's easier. The device, the enterprise can use they can deploy their own zero trust model where they have an agent and they have XDR against all those platforms, all those devices, and they can monitor all of that. That's fine. But sometimes you can't do that. Some people will say, like, I want to use my own laptop, work for my basement, or work with my own internet and all of that. What then do you do? So one of the things companies are doing is even VPNs are beginning to become susceptible, to things like that. So, but what companies can do then is, okay, I'm going to allow you to connect from everywhere. But one, they can do a split tunnel VPN. Most companies would allow you to do a split tunnel VPN where all your regular traffic on your device, you are going to your social media, whatever, is going to an encrypted connection. But anything that's going to connect with the company services, the company servers or network or applications, it goes through an encrypted tunnel that only, and that connection is refreshed every time you connect. So you can't say, oh, I have session keys from this session, I'm going to use the next session and the other session. No, it's repeated and recycled every different session. So you get a different one. So you can use split tunneling VPN. That's another thing organizations are doing, just sort of to keep that. Of course, this is on top of multi-factor authentication where, you have your multi-access token, you have your token device, you have your, biometrics or what have you. But these are the things companies can do and then if it's a personal device, yes. If it's a company device, yes. Like my my work laptop, I can't just install any software I want on it because people would download stupid software even when they don't plan to. It happens inadvertently. But on a personal device, they do the same thing. In fact, most companies do what they call a split space, where there's a company space on your device, and they have MDM that can allow them to remotely wipe that if the device gets lost or whatever it is, and your personal space. And most smart devices today can support all of that, mobile phones, all of that, where company stuff is stored separately, personal stuff is stored separately. So all of these things are innovations that have happened because it has come to a point where people want to use their devices, people want to work from anywhere, and we can't really stop them from doing that, but want to enable them to work well. So we work alongside that, where It is. And the challenge is this. I was talking to my manager the other day, and I said, the problem is this: security and usability or user friendliness actually opposite side of a scale. It's left for the company to decide where on that scale do we want to be. Do we want to be more secure and annoy all our users? That's the company's choice. Or do we want to be friendly to our users and be less secure?
Yes.
So it's always a sliding scale. Where the more secure always tends to mean less user-friendly because there's a lot more hoops you have to join to. But determine where your space of balance is, and then just find that for your company and then work with that.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's interesting when you say usability and security.
Two ends.
We actually, I think sometime early this year, we had two sales consultants quit on us because of our DAS. Said, no, you wouldn't let us do. Quick as I was. I can't even use my Teams on my phone. So, unfortunately, we're a security company. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, sorry, I can't do my job. I quit. So, okay, that's fine. But again, it's because we're a security company. If it was another company, they'll probably do. So the way I've seen it work sometimes is you see, say, let's say it's a small company like ours, the CEO will just come and say, oh, I can't lose this guy, make it work for him, right? And as a security team, department will find a way to make it work one way or another, right? So I think I'll take you a little bit away from the technical stuff, right? Let's bring it because I know I see that a lot of people in the audience, there are people trying to get into the space. Some are immigrants, some are not. But being an immigrant yourself, I mean, you're someone that talk about the immigrant journey a lot,
Yes.
and you've done a lot of great stuff in this space in Canada. As an immigrant, what challenges have you faced, and what opportunities have you encountered in this space in Canada or North America as a whole?
This is an area that I'm actually very passionate about. I know what it feels like. I remember when I first moved to Vancouver, where I currently am, 6.5 years ago. I would be on the bus or the SkyTrain, and I am the only Black person on the bus. I have been in a situation where I've sat down on the seat and somebody didn't sit down next to me. And then coming to work as well, I know I've seen incidences where, like in my directorate at work, I'm not the only Black person, but we were very, very few in my directorate. And there's always been a challenge because I've said to people, it's important for me to feel that I have a chance of succeeding by seeing somebody who looks like me.
Yeah.
One of my mentees emailed me yesterday. She's going for an interview somewhere. And she asked me, do you know anyone in this company? And I said, well, I don't know anybody there now. People I know have left there onto, new challenges. So like, okay, did they hire Blacks? And I was like, that's a good question. Yes, because one of the people I know that just left there as a director of risk management. So they do hire Blacks and you can get pretty high up in there. So it's important because if you don't see someone that looks like you in leadership, then you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing all of this? So one of the things I say to immigrants is, your knowledge is not useless. Your experience is not useless.
Absolutely.
If at all, you actually have a bigger outlook on life because one, you have a look at it from your home country, wherever that might be it Africa, be it Asia, be it Europe, wherever, because the way things are done in those cultures are different. But then now you're here in North America where things are done differently. And you have a beautiful sense of perspective across both of those cultures. And you can actually see how, though this is the way things are done here, you can leverage on those experiences to do things differently to achieve even significantly better outcomes. So it's actually a plus for you. It's like somebody who can speak one language and somebody who can speak 3 languages. Of course, the person who can speak 3 languages is at an advantage. Same thing with you. If you have that experience from the other country, from another country, culturally is where the biggest benefit is because Excel in Nigeria is the same as Excel in Canada, is the same as Excel in the UK. It doesn't change. It's the culture behind the usage that changes. So use that to your advantage. Don't let anyone tell you that you are not enough because trust me, you are more than enough. You are more than enough. Keep on pushing. I said this to someone, like, why so violent? I'm like, keep on pushing at the door. If the door doesn't open, knock it down and go through the door.
Yeah.
So because if you don't blow your own trumpet, no one's going to blow it for you.
Absolutely.
That's the truth. So you have to be ready to do the work to actually get you to where you want to be, And of course, leverage on people who have walked the walk before you, people who have done, people like yourself and the good things you're doing. There's so many other people in the community who are doing a lot of good things, sharing their experiences, because it's by sharing their experiences. I remember someone I used to respect a lot used to say something a long time ago. He said, if everyone can reach one, then everyone can teach one, and then the world can be a better place. So everything you do, you learn something new. Tell someone else, oh, I learned this thing new, and I think it can be useful for you. So that means I don't have to make that mistake again when I'm trying to do the same thing. And if you do that and spread that, then the whole it just becomes like a ripple. It sort of just grows.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I say. Don't be challenged. Don't be afraid. Yes, you will get some no's. Yes, you will get knocked down. The beauty of falling down is that you get to get up again. That's the beauty about it.
Absolutely, 100%. Thank you. And like you said, teach it forward, pay it forward is the most important thing. But I say a lot of people come into this country and they're like, they come with the mindset that, oh, I have to start all over. Or someone told them somewhere that, oh, no, nobody knows you here, you have to start all over. And I always say to people, yeah, I made that mistake. And I try hard to make sure that people don't make that mistake. Your experience matters, what you're bringing from wherever. Even the so-called, I think, Canadian experience or something. In my opinion, there's really nothing like that. It's really cultural awareness.
That's what it
Do you,
is.
do you understand how we do things here?
Yeah, that's what it
Or
is.
how do they test if you have Canadian experience from an interview? What they're looking for is, do you understand how things are done here? There's certain things you say, and how do you know that without exactly working here? It's by engaging with those that have walked the walk before you.
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
I agree with you 100%. So let's play a little game. Do you have
Okay.
time? I think
I
we
like
do.
games. I like games. I like games.
So this is not it's not about like the immigrant journey per se, it's more security, but I think it would help our people understand certain things. These are things that they're probably familiar with. So what I will do is I'll name a cybersecurity threat, and then you tell us in say 2 seconds. I don't think that's possible, but yeah, let's try it. In two
All right.
seconds, you tell us a rapid fire response to that
Okay.
threat. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got like two or three that we'll go through.
Okay.
Insider threat. Let's start with insider threat.
Right, threats. The best thing would be training, awareness and training. That's the best way. And
Absolutely.
then DLP as well. DLP instead of
Thank you.
training.
Yeah, thank you very much. Oh, that's two. Wow, thank you. That's the one you gave me too. Okay, the next one, ransomware.
Ransomware, I'll do DLP. I'll also do backup strategies because hey, if you have good backup strategies and someone ransom, you just wipe it up and go use your backup. DLP as well.
What's the guarantee that you get a data back if you pay?
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, the last one. Teaching. We all know
Fishing.
that.
Also training. Also training. If it looks like a duck, it sounds like a duck, it's probably a duck. So don't click
Absolutely.
it. Training.
Remember, trust was verified. Even if it's something it seems like you're expecting, or from someone you know, make sure you
Somebody
verify.
sends you money that you were not expecting. There's no free money anywhere.
Absolutely, thank you. Then, from an organizational point of view, you can have your email filtering system as well, like email security system. But yeah, from a using point of everyday users, please always verify. If it looks fishy, it is fishy.
And
Thank you.
the best way is always don't verify through. So if someone sends you an email that looks suspicious, don't reply and say, "Did you send me an email?" Pick up the phone and call the person. Did you
Yes,
send me an email? So use
absolutely.
an alternative channel to verify that communication.
Yeah, yeah. So, something interesting that happened one of the places I worked in the past. I was on a call with the CEO, and the CEO was sending me an email to help me get what do we call this? What do we call this digital card? What do we call it? Not
What?
credit card. The use for gaming and all of that. Oh goodness,
Oh,
I can't remember
Steam.
what it's called.
Steam. Oh, the Steam cards.
That's it.
Steam, the gaming platform, Steam,
The
right?
theme card, yes, the theme card. I said, oh, he sent me an email. Oh, I need to get this for my son's birthday. Get it ASAP. And I was on a call with him. I was like, okay, interesting.
Why didn't you just tell me I am on the phone with me? Yeah.
So just watch out, watch it and make sure you always verify. Thank you. The very last question for me before we open it up. So, is there any piece of advice you'd want to give to anyone trying to transition into cybersecurity? I suspect that some of the people on the call, if they're not already in this space, they're trying to transition or they're looking at possibilities, looking at where they'll fit. What advice today do you have for them?
I have several I can actually give, but I'm going to just say two, maybe three things. The first thing is be agile. Be agile, be nimble on your feet, because the truth is, you might say this is what you want to do and find out that your strengths lie elsewhere. I always say, work what is your strength so that it looks like you're getting paid to do nothing, because you will enjoy what you do. And when you enjoy what you do, you will do your best work. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. The second thing is, don't let anyone tell you you are not enough. You will always be enough. So imposter syndrome will come in and you think like, there's this role. I don't think I'm good enough for this role. Actually, sometimes there are roles that you cannot do it. Like I see sometimes people tell me, I say there's a role here, but don't. I'm like, no, I can't do that. That's not me. I'm not interested in that area. I'm not going to be a pen tester, a vulnerability manager. I have no interest. So
Yes.
don't let anybody tell you you're not enough, especially when you know that you are enough for that role. So
Yeah.
always believe in yourself. And finally, network like your life depends on it. The truth is,
So
because
that's dependent.
in the professional environment, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. So if I
Yes.
don't know, if people will not sit in a room and speak for you when you're not there, then what exactly are you knowing them for? Right? So network like your life depends on it, because actually your life depends on it. Your
Yes.
network is your net worth. Those three things is what I would say. Any other thing, you can reach out to me and we can have a conversation about that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. No, in fact, you've shared a lot of good stuff. I don't have much to add to it. I would, I thought I'll share an experience I had earlier on when I came to Canada, but no, I'll leave that for later because you've shared enough good stuff already. I'll leave it open to the audience. If you are on Zoom and you want to ask a question, please unmute or raise your hand and you can ask a question right away. If you're on LinkedIn, I'm not sure I can see people on Facebook. If you're on LinkedIn, put it in the comments and I will read it out to our guests. Over to you, David. Okay. And it doesn't have to be about cybersecurity practices. It could be about how to transition. It could be anything. Just
Yeah,
ask.
there's that too.
Yeah. Hey, we're waiting. Let me see what we've got on
Do you
here.
have any questions from the live stream platform, so LinkedIn or Facebook?
Okay, I see a comment on LinkedIn just from one of our own says striking a balance between user convenience and effective security. You give the thumbs up. He's just confirming what you said earlier.
Yeah. Because really,
Okay.
people are reluctant to change. So
Oh yes.
they're doing a security thing, like at work, one of the things we are doing right now with the client I'm supporting is we're doing a change to our password policy to increase the length of our password policy. And people are already complaining about that, but the giveaway is we're going to give them we're going to give the password life a longer lifespan. So it will be longer, but you can use it for longer. So it's like, okay, I don't have to change it every 90 days, right? Okay, we'll think about that. So there's that as well. Because longer
As long
is
as
generally better. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So talking about that, maybe I should ask a question while we're waiting. So how do you make and you just touched on it really? How do you make yes, people are reluctant to change. How do you make them change? How do you let them know that oh this is the right thing to do?
There's a
Especially
variety
when
of
everybody always says it's not my business. Well, security is not it's never anybody's business, but it's supposed to be
Yes, it's all of
everybody's
us, it's
business.
everybody's business. Exactly. Part of the challenge, especially with if it's a big security, and depending on how large the enterprise is, because different enterprises will do it differently. I support a very large enterprise. We have about 20,000 users. It's a public utility as well, so that I support. So it's actually a very big and my team is responsible for identity of that for identity. I won't tell them my team is a very small team responsible for all those identities. So it's a lot of work we do. One of the things that we say is this: we always start with a pilot. Let people get a very small set of people to test that out. Test that your hypothesis about if I do this, it is better. Usually your pilot could be 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, however long it is needed for your enterprise to succeed. Do that. But while the pilot is going on, communication is key. I think, and that's not just in cybersecurity, it's in every aspect of life. If you start telling your employees that, okay, due to prevailing cybersecurity environment or the environment or the threats or landscape or whatever it is, we are making some changes in our security policies to make us more secure. We're going to be forcing password changes every 90 days. We're going to be requiring the use of MFA via a token, software hardware token device. It doesn't matter. We're going to be enforcing 16-character long passwords. We're going to be using a banned list because people are very lazy. They just take a word from the dictionary. They can use their name or their birthday or their date of birth or their month of birth for password. We're going to be banning things like that because like one of the things we do is we have a banned list that includes like days of the week, months of the year, common words. You cannot use them as a password because they would easily come up in any things like that. Start communicating that early enough. If you're going to start it January next year, start telling them January this year that this is the plan. This is the plan. This is the plan. And then by October, turn it on and tell them it's turned on. You should do this, but we will start enforcing it 3 months from now. So people have enough time to get used to that. So that if by the time you now turn on the tap, turn on the light and say we switched and we're starting to enforce that, anybody that is given that one, they know that they've had enough notice to actually deal with, to actually get on board that train. And also, it just is their fault because they haven't paid attention, right? And any complaints will have come up in the intervening time that, oh, I'm having a challenge with this because of A, B, C, or D. And then you can walk through that. So communicate, give people a lot of lead time, and then you can actually reduce some of that friction a bit.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. There's a question in the chat. So it says, how is the cybersecurity job market for beginners? Also, are there still remote jobs in this field? Good question.
Are there remote jobs? Yes. There are remote jobs. In fact, a lot of cybersecurity roles can be done remotely. There are a few that would rather not do remotely. Maybe you have to have a security clearance, like a security clearance or something, or you're working in a SOC center, for example. Maybe you may not be able to do that remotely. It all depends on the SOC, but generally, yes, they are remote jobs, so you can find a remote job. Are there beginner jobs for people that are getting into cybersecurity? That's a very interesting question. I look at it this way, and this is my belief also. An entry-level cybersecurity job is not entry-level. That's the easiest way to say it. What I mean, I am not going to expect you to be fresh out of university after your high school and throw you into cybersecurity role. It doesn't work like that. I expect you to have some knowledge about the way things in IT sphere work generally. As I tell people who want to get into cybersecurity, if you're asking me, if you're doing a career switch, look out for roles that would put you in a place like help desk, tech support, because what that does is it exposes you to a lot of the different facets and areas of cybersecurity or technology as a whole, which includes cybersecurity and how it interweaves with all other areas of the business. And then you can get a broader sense of how things work, so that tomorrow when we say we're going to do this thing for a security reason, you understand exactly why we are doing the thing, acting the way we are doing it. Because the risk is that if you don't come in with any background experience at all, even if it's 6 months, there's a risk that things might go wrong on your watch. And in security, when things go wrong, they tend to go horribly wrong. They don't go wrong a little bit. They tend to go very wrong when they go wrong. So just to avoid that, most companies will not give you an entry-level job in cybersecurity or give you fresh out of school or fresh with no experience in cybersecurity role. So I always say to people, find a way to build some experience. You can build that experience by taking a tech support or help desk job, or you can volunteer some time and work with somebody who is in the industry. There's so many opportunities that there's things you can do. You have to be creative about that so that you have 6 months of experience under your belt. Then you can actually speak from a more informed place, because at that point, you actually understand the industry. You're not just speaking from somebody who has no experience in technology. I know your experience is in nursing or whatever it is. So
absolutely, thank you. Again, it goes back to what you said, what you said, and I agreed with earlier. The fact that you can come from any background, right? But the one important thing, like, is being technology aware, understand technology, how technology works, right? So, why would I want to put someone that doesn't understand how business works, how technology works, in charge of my security? If it's not if you're not an intern, exactly, and I know that there are other people leading you and guiding you on what to do, exactly, I wouldn't give you a job.
I wouldn't do that.
No one dashes out money. No one dashes out jobs. If I'm hiring you because there's a value, I know that you have what it takes to secure my infrastructure. That's why I would hire you. So there's no such thing, and I agree with you, as, again, in quotes, an entry-level job. So you need to have something. You need to show something.
Yes, absolutely.
So it could be some projects. Again, when I talk about work experience, just to add to what you said, work experience doesn't have to be paid work experience.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be.
It could be projects you've done on your own. You can have labs, and I know in fact, a lot of people in this space have labs and just play around with things, look at what, even if it's just around cloud securing your own internal network, or just doing something with a school or a school that's just putting you on projects. And I always say to people, if you've done something once before, you can do it many times again.
Yeah.
Touch it. No.
Only the first time is hard. Once you've done it once,
Yes.
it comes easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can speak to that one thing many times. You can sit down. If you've done, let's say you've done an end-to-end cybersecurity project and you've sat across myself and Femi here, and we're talking about certain things, you have things to say about your experience on that project, even if it's just that one project. You have things to say compared to someone that has just read the book. That there'll be a big difference there.
Yeah.
So don't wait for entry-level roles. Find ways to get the experience yourself.
Yeah.
And go for it. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Okay, there's another question on LinkedIn. It says, is there great chance for non-IT persons to grow in the cybersecurity field? Okay, you're asking the right person.
Is there a chance for non-IT people to grow in cybersecurity?
Yeah.
Only limited by your imagination and your dreams. That's what I'm going to say. Like I said, I don't know if you were here at the very beginning, my first degree is in chemistry.
Yes.
And I have a postgraduate in pharmaceutical chemistry. So I spent years mixing chemicals and turning blue to green and yellow to white and all of that in the lab. That was my background. Today, I am a respected voice in identity and access management here in North America. So it's about what's the drive you have, what motivates you. When you wake up in the morning, what makes you get out of bed to say, I want to get up and make this day a great day? And that cannot be taught or forced or learned. It has to come from you. So yes, you can actually come from any field, but it's like, why are you doing what you're doing? I know a lot of people in recent years, the biggest reason why a lot of people are crossing to cybersecurity, either by omission or commission, is that they hear it's a six-figure salary industry. Yes, it is a six-figure salary industry. But you can't just expect that you will come in with no experience and no day and you get a six-figure salary. It does not work like that. Some people work years before they get to six-figure salary. Absolutely. I don't know anybody that started with a six-figure. I didn't start with a six-figure salary in the industry. So it's not American six-figure salary, not Nigerian six-figure salary. But it doesn't start like, it doesn't work like that. But with experience, with dedication, with perseverance, and you don't expect that you will start and not improve yourself and get the six figures. Also doesn't work that way. So you have to constantly improve yourself, be it by learning, be it by, taking on projects, be it by improving yourself with certifications, which is a completely different conversation entirely as well, which is to be or not to be, but that's a different conversation. But, constantly improve yourself and showcase your improvement. That's what would help you justify the increase that you will get in your pay to
absolutely
six-figure income.
And I like what you said. You don't have to start up again. Money can be the motivation. 90% of the people, money is the motivation, and it's not a bad thing. I like money. I believe you like money too.
No, yes.
Everybody does.
Go around.
How do you pay your bills if you don't like money? So money can be the motivation, but then there's also something you need to do before that money comes, and that's the work. And that's the toughest part of it. Put the work in, the money will follow. Value, money follows value. Always remember that. Exactly. Companies don't pay for nothing.
Yeah.
You guys, I have all the certifications, pay me. No. Show me how you can add value to me.
How you make my
then I'll pay you.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter where your background is. I've seen people that don't check all their lives and they're not doing as well as people that started cybersecurity 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Again, it depends on, and I say this to the professionals in our program. We call them professionals because you need to have some background before you can join us, right?
Yeah.
So you're not entry level. You're starting somewhere. So I say this to them: you're all learning the same thing. It doesn't, depending on your specialization here, you're all learning the same thing. And let's say that you're all applying to the same job. Someone will get that job. What would stand that person out? Is the extra work they put into it.
Yeah.
Is the extra effort they put into it. The fact that you've gone through a program doesn't mean automatically, boom. No, it doesn't work like that.
No.
You have to show something. You have to prove that you are like the best to offer the value that that company needs,
Yeah.
then the money will follow.
A
I
friend of
say to
mine,
people,
a friend of
yeah,
mine once said, you have to learn before you earn. That's
absolutely,
so true. You have to learn
100%,
first. When you have taken
100%.
the L and you remove the L, you're no more a learner, then you can start
Then you're
earning.
earning.
You start to earn. But you cannot earn
100%.
without learning.
I agree. I agree. And like I say, yeah, everybody talks about 6 figures. Cybersecurity can be a 7 figure career. It depends on how you manage it. But again, something comes first, and that's the earning, the learning part of it. So there's another question. So people are putting things in the chat, they're not talking. So what advice would you give to someone starting with the first role in cybersecurity? Okay, good question.
First rule is cybersecurity. Keep your mind open, learn as much as you can learn. Don't put on blinders. So some people, like I said, I mentioned this earlier. Some people go in cybersecurity and say, "Oh, I saw Enemy of the State and I saw Ocean's 11 and I like how they were hacking to the casino, so I want to be a pen tester." So you go into cybersecurity with your blinders on, that all you see is I want to be a pen tester. Whereas
Yeah, correct.
there could be
So,
a lot more interesting things outside of that. So
absolutely.
don't put those blinders on. So first thing is go into you have the role already, which is the hardest part, is that your foot's already in the door. Keep your eyes open and listen. Learn as much as you can learn. See what each of the various domains, ISC2, which is the people I tend to associate the most with, have 8 different domains of cybersecurity.
Yeah.
What domain are you working in? Is it asset management security? Is it software development security? Is it identity access management? Is it audit? Is it governance? What area are you in? But what areas are you interfacing with regularly? How do you interface with them? What are you learning from them? Because the truth is, you have a lot more value when you might be a master in this area, but you can speak to 6, 7, 3, 4 other areas as well. That makes you better. But when you're just a one person, one-way traffic, it makes it a lot more challenging for you. Because once you're outside of that area, you're like a fish out of water. So you don't want to be that person. You want to open your eyes, increase your breadth while you're focusing on your vertical for your depth knowledge. That's what I would say.
Absolutely. Thank you. I just add to that, I say to people, they say, oh, okay. Are you saying with your program we can get it? I said, oh, I can do anything. I said, no, you cannot do everything, but you will learn enough to get you started. And when you start, you can look at, then you'll be more exposed. Look at what other areas and then decide where you go. Because you should, if you're open enough, be exposed to everything else. Right. And then you can decide where you go. So again, be more open-minded, like you said.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, another question. So say, which areas of cybersecurity? Oh, okay, I have 2 questions, but let me take the first one. So, which areas of cybersecurity have jobs in high demand?
Which areas of cybersecurity have jobs in high demand? Um, what I have noticed, and I've noticed, and this is just strange. There's no area that isn't hiring. Let me start with this. There's no area that isn't hiring, because a lot of people who are in cybersecurity today, especially who are senior in cybersecurity, have been in tech industry for quite a while. They will be retiring soon. So there's a need to step in those shoes. So every area is actually hiring. There's a lot more, especially in some of the very, very fancy new areas, like prompt engineering for generative AI. Fancy new title, fancy new area, a lot of work there. But I think if you want grounded stuff, I think one of the areas I've seen a lot of demand in actually has been around governance, risk, and compliance. There's a lot of demand in that area. I know that people tend to say if you are non-technical and you're pivoting, that's the best place to go into. Perhaps, but I also don't think that's correct. I don't think that's exactly true. It also depends on each
Actually,
individual.
yeah.
It's not exactly true. So that's
That's an
one that has a
interesting
lot
one.
of demand. But I think there's also a lot of demand in network security, because networks are growing at a huge pace. Companies are having to build so many modify their network in so many ways just to accommodate the realities of today's landscape. Is it SD-WAN in? Are they using SASE? There's so many things that are coming in these days. So companies have had to adapt. So there's a lot. If you are an expert in network security, there's a lot of roles for you available now. Then also, of course, because the smart bad guys are getting smarter, threat intelligence and defensive security, not offensive. Well, offensive and defensive are the same side, are two sides of the same coin. But there's a lot of threat intelligence roles that are available. There's a lot of offensive, defensive security roles available. It all depends, like I said. But there might be so many offensive security roles. If you're not interested in offensive security, or if it doesn't interest you, like if you're like me, you would not you would have interviewed for the role and they will know that you are trying to
This is
bamboozle.
yeah, exactly.
So there might be so many roles, but find what works for you. Find what works for you. Yeah. So
100%.
I
I'll
see a
just
comment
add to that.
that SOC has a lot of demand. Yes, that's threat intelligence.
Yes.
Threat intelligence is a huge
Yeah.
because fine. A lot of people say we use AI these days to actually look at all this threat feeds, but look at all the biggest one of the biggest breaches from recent years. SolarWinds, for example. Even though there was a lot of AI driven, it was a human that had to review the code to find the breach. Oh, something weird happened here. So you need a human there. So threat intelligence, because AI will just tell you A is equal to A, so this is A, B is equal to B is here. So it's system for you. But the human has to go there and say, okay, how does this now make sense to me for my business? So there's a lot of demand there also for threat intelligence as well. So absolutely true.
Absolutely. So it's called actionable intelligence for a reason. Someone needs to action that intelligence, right? So,
Yeah.
so all right. Thank you. Thank you so much. So another question I see, and I've seen a lot of comments, but question there is, what is the greatest challenge a newbie in cybersecurity may face at work?
I think it varies depending on what a newbie is, but I'm going to assume that this person is probably an immigrant or looks like me, and you're probably in North America. I'm going to assume that, or maybe you're
if it's not, you
crossing,
can let us know. Yeah.
So one of the biggest challenges I think, and this happened to me, is the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Nothing bigger than that, because you get to a point where, yes, you've worked so hard to improve your skills to get a job in cybersecurity, and you've gotten the job now. But then on your first day of the job, you tell you that, what are you doing here? You used to be a nurse before. Why are you here? That's the biggest challenge the biggest challenge you can actually have is your own mind telling you that, oh, you shouldn't be here, or you don't deserve to be, or you should be somewhere else. That's the biggest challenge. If you can stop that, the sky isn't the limit. The sky is your starting point. So find out a way to kill your imposter syndrome. And I tell people the best way to kill imposter syndrome, I know I'm taking a bit of time here, is someone once told me, keep what is called a brag book. What do you mean by a brag book? Every time you have an accomplishment, write it down. Every time you have something that you have done that you are proud of, write it down. Every so often, pick up that book and read it. So when you start to think, oh, should I be here? You can read the book and tell yourself, oh, I did this, and I did that, and I did that. I deserve to be here because I have shown that I have what it takes to be here. So don't let that imposter syndrome stop you from being your best self, but always write down your achievements down so that you can remind yourself when you forget that you've actually achieved something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. It just reminds me of, and again, it happens to everybody. Imposter syndrome happens to everybody. You just have to know how to acknowledge it and let it know that I've done what I've done. I know what I know. And there's a reason I'm here. So I remember I think it was my first job in Canada. Even though, yes, in fact, I didn't move from Nigeria, I moved from the UK. But then it was my first time it was Orlando, and I couldn't stand up from bed. The first day of work, I couldn't stand from bed. I
Like,
told my wife, I said, I'm not going.
I know the feeling too well. I know the feeling too well. I know too well.
And then I said to myself, wait, you've done this many years. You've got some of the best people around. You've not just done it, you have got it. So what's the problem? What is keeping you on there? I stood up, I went in there. My first meeting was with the VP, well, the senior VP actually, and I was sweating. It was on site, there was no remote there. Well, there were remote jobs, but not as common as they are now. Yeah. I was actually sweating myself up, but I got that done. And again, the rest is history. I remember I was the only Black person in that company at the time. By the time I left, there were 4.
There you go.
So, and there's one of them were good friends now. The first day, she came to me and said, are you Toby? Because that's my other name. I said, yes. The SVP, the person I met on my first day, my first meeting, told me during my interview that he's going to hire me because of you. I said, what? Thought I didn't make a good impression on my first day.
There you go. There you go.
And so I'm still good friends with the lady today. But again, it tells you that if you can keep that in check, exactly to what you said, if you can keep your imposter syndrome in check, you can do a lot of great things.
Yeah, yeah,
Actually.
that's so true. That's so true.
Is there any other question? And we're almost at time, but I think we can still take one more question. I see a comment from Louis. Said if you don't lie on your resume by saying you have experience you don't have, you will betray. Some highly technical cybersecurity staff have problem in reporting. True.
That's
True. You know, double down on your strength. That's very important. And I tell people this, and even in interviews, when they ask you questions that you're not familiar with, say, don't put yourself in a box. What do I mean by that? Yeah, they have a certain expectation. Maybe you've done something similar in a different environment or in a different context. Take them to that context. Walk them through your own journey. Don't try to fit into that box. And
exactly.
a lot of the time, they would appreciate where you're coming from. So, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've seen someone go through an interview and the interviewer, because I know the interviewer said, I like how she thinks. She understands the process. Maybe not very technical, but she understands the process. I will give her the job. Okay, that's good. So again, don't when you're trying to fake it, a lot of the times they'll figure you out.
Oh, yes,
Because
absolutely.
these are people that are experienced in the space. I know what is real. Femi here knows what is real and what is fake. You're telling me you're making up stories, and I'm like, okay, that's not true. You didn't do that.
I remember I was in an interview once, and I kept on. So one of the things I was doing, I was saying, "Oh, I used to work for this summer. I was working the team, and we did, and we did, and we did, and we did." And I said, "Yes, I know you did this, but what did you especially
do.
do?" So you
Exactly.
can't take it.
You can't. You
Take it.
can't. You know, it's interesting. Right, one of this financial sector firm I interviewed for a few years ago, and I can't remember the exact question, but it was around. Okay, it was around data protection, and the guy was so. Okay, what would you do if you if the team is to work on a project and they need to on a data analytics project? Yeah, that was the question, and they need to use personal information. What would you recommend? And I said, first, being a researcher myself, I know that what they need in that case would be more of aggregated data. And I said, okay, for that project, I just asked some probing questions as well. Say, okay, do they need what do they need the personal PII for? So well, they don't exactly need it, they just need
So why are you collecting
what
it?
demography and all of that. I said, yeah, okay. Then just when you in your whatever code you're writing, don't move that data over.
Yeah,
It reduces your
your risk.
whatever, it's not CDI in this case. It just reduces your threat landscape. It helps to keep you in check. And we're not dealing with PR in that data analytics environment because that data is not even coming in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah.
He looked at me and he said he was actually expecting a technical answer, but that was a smart answer.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Some
again,
complex answers are simple, really.
exactly,
Keep it simple.
exactly. Double down on your strength. Very important. Yeah, they talk about fake it until you make it, but there are ways you can fake it without lying, right?
Yes.
You can speak to your experience from a security point of view without talking about things you haven't exactly done. You can talk about projects you have done on your own, not only the paid work experiences. You've been in a boot camp, you've done 2, 3 projects, you can speak about those projects. You've done non-security projects that you've seen security in based on the knowledge you now have. Speak about those experiences. Don't speak about things you haven't done because you will most likely be found out.
That is so true. That is so true.
Okay, we are time. Okay, there's a comment. Let me see what we've got here.
Build a lab and do
Right.
as much
Build a lab and do as much project as you can. I agree 100%.
exactly what you said
100%.
earlier.
Yeah. This like knows behind the name because he has been throwing some good stuff in the
I
chat.
think I know who that is. I think I know that he's also experienced. He's very
Oh
experienced.
yeah, I can tell. I can tell from the comments on the chat.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank
I
you
will
so
not say
much.
too much. I don't let it. Yes. He's a senior SOC analyst. with a public utility here in BC as well. So
Oh, nice. Really nice meeting you virtually, Louis. So we're already at time. Thank you so much for your time today, Femi. I've really enjoyed every minute of it. It's been a proper conversation. Thank you for sharing a lot of this stuff. I know our audience, they appreciate it. If they want to connect with you, where can they do that?
the best place to reach me is my LinkedIn. So just search for Femi Ogunji on LinkedIn.
So
Find me.
I'll put the name and let me.
Find me on LinkedIn. You can follow my podcast. I do because I do have a podcast. But LinkedIn is the best way to get in touch with me. Just
Yeah, okay.
search my name
So
on
that's
LinkedIn.
the name.
Find me.
Femi Ogunji. I know it shows it shows Femi O on the screen. So it's Femi Ogunji. I just put it in the chat.
Yes.
And I'll put it on LinkedIn. Okay, I guess people on LinkedIn can see, they can even click your link from
Yeah.
there. So follow him. He will be happy to respond to your questions. And again, you can follow me as well. And this, if you miss it, if you miss any part of it, it will still be available on LinkedIn. It will be available on YouTube in a matter of days, and you'll be able to rewatch it. And yeah, I think that's it. That's it, really. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been an
Thank you
absolute
very
pleasure
much for
having
having
you
me.
on the show. And I hope you will be happy to join us again if we invite you.
Absolutely. It's been a fun experience. Like I
Yeah,
say,
we have
you
enjoyed
can if you
everything.
can reach more people, we can get more people that look like me into the industry. That's what I want to see.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
That's what
there
I
are
want to
so
see.
many thank yous in the chat.
Yes.
So it's been wonderful listening. So thanks, guys. Yeah, a lot of thank yous in the chat. So thank you so much for a wonderful session. But until next time, bye for now, everyone.
Thank you very much.